Hi Randy, Sandra Brown, IPv4 Market Group. Thank you for the discussion on Inter-RIR transfers, one of my favorite topics, of course. I think, I have a comment first of all. I think to your point that it didn't handle the ASN transfer, I know when we wrote the right policy, we built it into the policy to be able to, so it sounds like an operational issue where there may not be a handoff, so we can maybe follow up on that point. I had a bit of a question, because you talked a lot about different aspects of when the IPs got to the right side of things. You talked about them being possibly legacy. You mentioned possibly PA as an option. You talked about Sandra being your sponsoring LIR, and I understand you can also have no relationship to RIPE when you do a transfer. So are those the 4 options you were given when you brought the IPs into RIPE? And what is this concept of Sandra being your sponsoring LIR, what is that exactly? Why did you choose to use that?
I'm a cheap son of a bitch. I cannot remember the options well, even though I was one of the architects of the policy. There's something about reaching my age. But I think Athena, who's here, can tell us quite well. I won't stick, you don't have to, Athena. Don't worry about it. Yeah, she has to check too. I think there are really only 3. I can come in naked, just like I was in ARIN, under no policy, no formal relationship. I can become a member, okay? And the thing of difference between becoming a member in the RIPE region and in the ARIN region is twofold. One is that I do not give up the rights to the legacy space. I don't know if RIPE can change the policy at the contract arbitrarily, but if they do, or for any reason I feel like it, I can pull out and go back to the naked state, losing no rights. Third is I can come under a sponsoring LIR, and again, withdraw if I want to. Depending upon how much address space you have, how many blocks, not how many host equivalents, you may find going under a sponsoring LIR to be cheaper. And I'm already an ARIN member in my day job, so, save a few euros. As to the missing ASN transfer, I don't know where. I couldn't fill it out on the ARIN form, and I hope Scott Liebrand has a comment.
Scott Liebrand, ARIN Council. I have not yet won the travel lottery that lets me on that corporate jet, so I'm not sure where it was.
Bummer. You'll have to ask John how that works.
I just checked the ARIN policy, and you are correct that it does not allow for 8.4 Inter-RIR ASN transfers. It does allow for within ARIN ASN transfers. This is the first I have heard of someone having an actual operational need to transfer an ASN, so if that is a legitimate need, then we can certainly write a policy to fix that. I think it's pretty good support. Up till now, it's just been nobody's wanted it.
As I said, I'm really good at finding bugs.
Thank you.
In the back there? Yeah. Andrea, RIPE NCC. I'm echoing Scott here. There's no policy basis in the ARIN region at this stage for ASN transfers. There is a policy base for AS transfers in the RIPE region. So that's not an operational issue, but more a policy issue on the ARIN side.
Because that's transferring within the RIPE region, will RIPE accept such a transfer from ARIN, and the only thing that's missing is the transmission from ARIN? Question mark.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
We have 2 more questions, and then we're going to go on to the next presentation. Alexander?
Hi, so Stefan, the 4th option that you're missing is in RIPE region, you can voluntarily give up your legacy status and convert it to PA status if you choose to.
Alain, if you could go back to your 3rd slide. Sandra Brown, IPv4 Market Group. It's the one with the allocation of the top 10. One more right there. So what you're showing on this slide, if I'm correct, is that the top 10 transfers in ARIN and APNet represent 32% of the market, but in my region, only 20% of the market.
Actually, excuse me, Sandra, that is not correct.
Okay.
This is the total allocation done in that region. The one about the transfer per se is actually this one here.
Does this show that in right region where there's no needs justification, that the percentage transfer to the top 10 is less concentrated than in the regions where there is needs justification?
Well, first of my understanding is that there is a need-based justification in the right region.
Not for internal transfers.
And I will let the people from right comment on that one. But the second one is this data shows the recorded transfers as reported by the IPv4.
Andrea, Cima, I confirm there is no need justification needed in the right region for transfers within the region.
So what I want to know is where there is no needs justification, is the transfer outcome less concentrated? Because if that is true, what it indicates to me is that needs justification in the other two regions is not having the result of preventing hoarding. The hoarding is more concentrated in the top 10 in the regions that do have needs justification, according to your data. Do you see that?
I present the data. We're not going to draw any conclusion. The objective of this is to bring the data to the different bodies so that different policy setting bodies, so they can use the data to draw their own conclusion.
I understand that, and I'm just wondering, do you see that conclusion? Because that's what I'm seeing. I don't have an opinion on needs justification at this time, but I'm seeing that conclusion from your data.
I cannot comment.
Sandra Brown, IPv4 Market Group. Andrea, the only comment I would have is when a company transfers the IPs into that region and it's a related company transfer, that might make a difference. I have never participated in a case like Eric's describing. That sounds to me a little bit speculative, but I think when it's within a company, such as a subsidiary to a parent in Europe or something like that, that seems perfectly fine to me. But to transfer for the speculative purposes from unrelated companies, that sounds a bit speculative to sell.